Hello everybody, welcome to a new video. My name's Ashley and welcome to the Library of a Silversaint, where we talk all things books. I hope you're doing well today. Happy weekend. I hope you've all got a nice drink or a beverage or something with you. I've got biscuit tea is back in business. I'm so excited. Sip, sip. Make sure you've got a drink, glass of water, coffee, vodka, whatever you need, whatever your poison is, whatever you need to feel cozy. Anyway, I hope you're all doing really well today. I am doing a slightly different video today. I was going to be filming my May wrap-up, which I am going to do very soon. But I had a really peculiar... It's not that peculiar. I always find myself constantly staring at my shelves. It doesn't matter what day it is, what I'm doing. I will always procrastinate by staring at my shelves. I do it all the time. And then I have a TBR cart that is here, a physical TBR cart. And I stare at that a lot as well. I find myself staring at my shelves constantly. And my physical TBR cart, I have really been staring at recently. So many of my highly anticipated reads are just sat on my TBR shelf right now. And it makes me feel a bit gooey because I'm like, oh, it's so lovely to think about all the exciting reads that I've got coming up soon. So many of them have been on my shelves for a little bit too long. Now I'm going to steal a phrase from Abby, Books and Three Cats. and say that I've been mood reading a little bit too close to the sun recently. I've been quite sporadic with my reading recently. I've been doing a lot of mood reading, just picking up random things, but also I've been doing a lot of buddy reading, which is my favourite thing in the world to do. I love a buddy read and I will never stop that, so that's not changing at all. But sometimes, just me mood reading in general, it means I get a little bit sidetracked from my physical TBR. And then I look at my TBR and I think, oh my goodness, I've got so many books on there that I've not yet touched. But recently I've been exploring a lot of other creators' videos on YouTube, on BookTube, and I just keep seeing these same series come up over and over and over again. And it's got me all excited. So in today's video, I wanted to talk to you about 10 authors that I have not yet read anything from, but that I really want to get to soon. Now, I'm not going to go into too much depth about the books or the series or anything like that, because I've not read them myself yet, of course, so I don't really know the ins and outs. But for a few of the series, I have just gone and got a sort of a general smallish summary from Google, so that if it's a series that you haven't heard of, that I can give you a tiny little summary so you can see if it's something that you would like to add to your physical TBR or just your general TBR too. But yeah, so I'm going to talk to you today about, oh my goodness, it's gone so dark. Guys, I thought we were going into summer, but apparently day's death is upon us again. This is atrocious. I'm going to continue because it's England. What can you do? You have to go with what you've got. So, it's coming back! Yay! Okay, someone's found the grail. So, I've got a list here, so I do apologise if my eyes divert. It's to go down to my little... Oh, I just noticed my little egg is not... I just noticed in the frame, my little egg should be there. It's my little dragon egg. It should be there. The first author that I have not yet read anything from, but intend to read from very, very, very soon, was actually initially planning to in May, but just because of buddy reads and general mood reading and holiday and things, didn't get a chance to. But someone I desperately want to read some of his books is the amazing Christopher Rocchio and the Sun Eater series. I have heard so much about this series, so much. The FOMO is real. I just feel so left out. This series sounds absolutely incredible. It also is quite intimidating. I find it a little bit scary. So this is an epic sci-fi series written by Christopher Rocchio. I'm just going to give you a little summary. So you've got Hadrian Marlowe in the present, and he is recounting his story, his past, kind of similarly to Empire of the Vampire by J. Christoph. You've kind of got a present day sort of scenario, and your main character is looking back. So he is recounting his life and all of the events that led up to the present, which led him to have his infamous title, which is the Sun Eater. And I'm just going to take one little line from the blurb, which is, "They remember him as a monster, the devil who destroyed a sun, casually annihilating 4 billion human lives, even the emperor himself, against imperial orders." Oh, he blew up a sun. He destroyed a sun. If that doesn't, pique your interest, where else does your interest lie? I've heard from so many people that the prose in this series is absolutely stunning. Christopher's writing is just genius. And that Empire of Silence is quite a sort of dense, prose-heavy entry point to the series. The plot doesn't really surface so much in this one, but apparently in books 2, 3, and so on, it just continues to step up. I've heard so many people talking about this, saying how incredible it is, so I can't wait to get to this series. I also need to speed up because I'm taking so long already. I've been talking for 7 minutes already and I've only spoken about one book. I'm so sorry. The second author that I really desperately need to read from is Jani WZ. So I have got her prequel novella, one of her prequel novellas for, I believe it's the prequel novella for The Curse of the Mist Wraith, I think. Oh gosh, no, I'm going to get that wrong now. I might have to check. I'm going to have to check. But I am going to have to check. But I've got one of her prequel novellas, which is called The Gallant. I've got that on my Kindle, and I am desperate to read it. I'm desperate to get into some of Jani's work. I feel like reading her prequel novella, The Gallant, will be a really good entry point. You know, it's only 100 or so pages, and I've just heard the most incredible things about Jani's writing. Jani is really well known for her epic sort of multi-layered stories and also really complex characters. I've heard that her writing involves like really fantastic in-depth world building, a lot of political intrigue, lots of sort of themes of good versus evil, which is something that I absolutely adore. I've heard about Jani's writing from so many other booktubers as well. So Jake from Nerd Level Rising, Shay from Shay's Library, the brothers Gwyn, Will and Ed have also mentioned Jani's writing. So many people have mentioned her writing, mentioned her books and how incredible they are. So, I mean, they have been singing her praises. I need to give her writing a go one day, so I'm super excited. The next author on my list of authors that I desperately need to get to is Peter V. Brett with his Demon Cycle, which starts with The Painted Man. This one in particular, I want to get to all of the authors that are on this list in this video, desperately, all of them. But this one in particular, for some reason at the moment, has been winking at me. Like, I've been looking at my shelf and this one has been flirting with me. This one's been giving me the eye, sweet talking, you know, this one's flirting with me at the moment. I just can't stop looking at it. Every time I go to my shelf, this one is like looking at me. Was that a wink? Oh my gosh, what was that? Hold on. There we go. That's what it's been doing. I couldn't wink for so long. It's really embarrassing. The premise for the Demon Cycle is that you have demons that rise from the Earth's core, and this takes place every night, and they prey on humans, essentially. Humans are trying to sort of keep these demons at bay using magical wards, and I believe something goes wrong with the wards, or something like that. I'm not certain. I don't know. I like to go in relatively blind. But the whole premise sounds incredible, and I just am really excited for this series. And like I said, this one in particular has been really flirting with me recently. It's time for a sip. Oh, that's better. That's a really good cup of tea. Okay, the fourth author that I'm desperate to get to, and I can't believe I've not read any of his work, it's Cormac McCarthy. Cormac McCarthy has got I probably don't need to tell you because you've probably heard of all of them. But a few of, I believe, his standout novels are The Road, No Country for Old Men, and also, I believe, Blood Meridian as well. With most of his books being, I would assume, classed as modern classics, I'm amazed that I haven't gotten to him yet. I have, however, experienced some of his stories because, of course, there have been films made of some of his stories. So I've watched No Country for Old Men so many times. Amazing film, so good. And I also recently watched The Road because, it's the worst reason though. It's not an intelligent reason. It's a really bad reason. I watched it because I saw that it had Viggo Mortensen, who plays Aragorn in Lord of the Rings. And obviously, you know, since I was 8, Aragorn / Viggo Mortensen has just been my crush. So, you know, a good 20 years of my life, Aragorn has been a huge crush. Saw he was in The Road, sold immediately. Turns out it's actually an incredible story. The Road in particular really reminded me of the book I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. I've just heard the most incredible things about. Despite having seen a couple of the films of his stories, I definitely want to read them as well. I know that, you know, film versions can be really different, and just because I've seen them in film doesn't mean I don't want to give them a go in reading them. I try to read them first if possible. I had a little look into generally the sort of what his sort of writing is about, and Pan Macmillan say that his novels raise serious questions about life and death, nature of evil, moral choice, the allure of violence, the passing of traditions, and the future of the planet. He wrote humanely about misfits and twisted outsiders. Just really interesting. Again, Brothers Gwyn, Will and Ed have mentioned Cormac McCarthy's writing so many times on their channel. Yeah, so I desperately need to give his work a go. The fifth author that is on my list is a completely random one. Never even mentioned him before on my channel, but that is Brian Lee Dery with his 5 Warrior Angels series. I believe this is a trilogy, and they are made of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown. Shay from Shay's Library has mentioned these books a lot, and I believe my friend Liam has read them as well, although I might be wrong again. I've heard just the most insane things about the 5 Warrior Angels series. I don't feel like they're spoken about much, but they've definitely caught my attention. I know very little about the actual content of the series, so I found a little summary to read for you. So 5 Warrior Angels is an epic fantasy trilogy that explores themes of destiny, prophecy, and the blurred lines between truth and lies. That's reminding me heavily of The Faithful and the Fallen. Already chef's kiss. The series follows a group of individuals, each with their own motivations and struggles, as they navigate a world where ancient prophecies are being fulfilled or perhaps manipulated, and a war threatens to engulf the 5 Isles. See, it reminds me of The Faithful and the Fallen. It sounds amazing. The series centres around the concept of 5 warrior angels, each wielding mystical weapons and a prophecy that foretells their role in a coming conflict. However, the prophecies are not as straightforward as they appear, and the story delves into the complexities of faith, power, and the consequences of belief. Come on! That sounds amazing. As I said, heavily reminding me of my beauties, The Faithful and the Fallen, so I have to give it a go. The 6th author that I am desperate to get to, and actually this is a really great one to talk about because I'm actually starting their book today. I am doing a buddy read with Leanne from Amongst Chaos She Reads, Abby from Books and Three Cats, and Luke from Tales Between the Pages. Is that right? I think that's right. We are starting the Gale Song trilogy, which starts with The Children of Gods and Fighting Men by Shauna Lawless. Sorry for the shine. I borrowed this copy from the library, from the local library that's behind where I work. So it's got a little cover on it, so it's a bit shiny. I really desperately wanted, I've heard amazing things about this series, particularly from Chris and Mads. And again, the Brothers Gwyn, you can see where I get a lot of my recommendations from. But I love historical fantasy, myths and legends, all of that sort of stuff. And I really want to read more of them. And I've heard that that is what this is. So I believe it's sort of a historical epic fantasy based on Irish myth, legend, folklore, that kind of thing. I've spoken about it so many times, but I love things like The Faithful and the Fallen. And I feel like this will kind of scratch a bit of that itch. Irish mythology is something that I haven't really explored or delved into, so I'm super excited. Also, just look at the cover. I love the titles as well. So yeah, starting this today, really excited. The story blends Irish mythology with real-life history, focusing on political intrigue, war, and the rise of rival factions, including the Fomorians and the Descendants, who seek to control Ireland. Sounds amazing. Number 7 on my list is one that I'm quite embarrassed to say that I haven't read, and that is Frank Herbert and his works of the Dune series. As Tolkien is the grandfather of epic fantasy with The Lord of the Rings and everything that is encompassed in Middle-earth, I think Frank Herbert is probably the grandfather of science fiction, sci-fantasy. I feel a little bit ashamed that I haven't read Dune yet, and I feel like Leanne at Amongst Chaos She Reads is going to be really upset with me because I believe it's one of her favourite books. I'm going to completely butcher these names in here, so I'm really sorry. But I've taken a little summary because I don't really know much about Dune, but it says that Dune tells the story of Paul Atreides, a young nobleman as his family is forced to rule the harsh desert planet of Arrakis, the only known source of the valuable spice melange. I don't know how to say it. I'm sorry, I can't words. I'm trying. This spice is highly coveted for its ability to extend life and enhance consciousness, making Arrakis a target for interstellar conflict. Sounds amazing. I need to read it, and then I need to watch the films as well. The 8th author on my list is Blake Crouch. Now, this is somebody that has been spoken about so widely, and I see his books on Instagram all the time. So I see things like Dark Matter, Recursion, and I think it's the Wayward Pines trilogy. Chris and Mads talk about Blake Crouch quite a lot, and also Kylo Reads on Bookstagram absolutely adores him and has been begging me to read his books. So I'm going to hopefully be starting this month in June. Sometimes I just need a thriller, not necessarily just to get me out of a slump or anything like that. I just crave it. I just crave that feeling. I've heard that Blake's writing will absolutely satisfy this for me. Dark Matter is actually my personal in-person book club's book choice for June, so I'm really excited to be getting to it this month. I don't really know much in depth about Blake's books individually as individual summaries, so I've just gotten a summary of him as an author. And it says that Blake Crouch is a contemporary thriller and science fiction author known for his fast-paced, genre-bending stories and exploration of complex themes like time, memory, and identity. His writing often features realistic scenarios, realistic characters thrust into terrifying situations, drawing on actual scientific concepts. I love that. He's also known for his ability to create suspenseful, mind-bending plots with unexpected twists and turns. I love it. I love it. I can't wait to see what it's all about. Number 9 on the authors list that I need to get to soon is Dr. Philip Chase. I'm pretty sure the Brothers Gwynn call him Dr. Fantasy at least. I really desperately would like to get to his Way of Adan trilogy. His Adan trilogy. I've heard so many things about this trilogy. Sean and Will on Bookstagram, I believe, have spoken about him a lot. I see Will and Ed and the Brothers Gwynn always talking about the Adan trilogy. And I've also recently seen Jake at Nerd Level Rising talk about the Adan trilogy as well. I don't know anything about the summary as such, but I've heard that it's extremely reminiscent of The Lord of the Rings and the feelings that are evoked when someone is reading a story that is based in Middle-earth, which kind of makes me feel really almost teary. What more could you ask for? Dr. Philip Chase is also an incredible booktuber, and I know that he has worked so hard on the Adan trilogy and spent so many years writing it, and I need to give it a go. From looking at a very brief summary, the Adan trilogy follows several interwoven characters as a holy war fueled by the Way of Adan unfolds across the land. Holy war, very interesting. I really need to read his series. I'm hoping that I can find somebody who will buddy read it with me, because I feel like this will be a really good buddy read series. So if anybody wants to buddy read the Adan trilogy with me, let me know. The final author that I'm desperate to get to at some point very soon is Richard Swan. I recently in the post received my, oh my gosh, where is it? It's behind. Just move my little Greek pot. I recently received in the post my copy of Grave Empire by Richard Swan, which is the most stunning, oh, I love it so much. Look at it. Oh, it's so beautiful. Book by Richard Swan. But I'm not going to read that one first, because I believe he's got another series which is called the Empire of the Wolf trilogy, which starts with the Justice of Kings. And apparently that's the better place to start. So I've heard Richard Swan mentioned a lot, again by the Brothers Gwynn. So I really want to start with his Empire of the Wolf trilogy. I've heard amazing things about them. Had a little look at just a sort of brief summary, and it says the series blends elements of a murder mystery with political intrigue and larger scale fantasy elements. Sounds perfect. So that's something, again, another author that I'm desperate to get to. Never read any of his writing before, but just heard amazing things. Anyway, I'm sorry for the really long video. Those are 10 authors that I am desperate to get to, but I've not read any of their works yet. I'm getting seriously left out over here, so I hope you enjoyed today's video. Slightly different. I hope you're all having a lovely week. I have to show you how relaxed Ernie is right now. I mean, sorry. Hello everybody, Ashley from the future just coming in to finish this video off, because not only was there a terrible echo throughout the entire video, which I can only apologise for, I'm really sorry, but as soon as I turned the camera around to start filming Ernie, the microphone completely turned off and didn't record any more sound for the rest of the video. So I just wanted to come here and just say thank you so much for watching, and please let me know in the comments below if there are any authors that you've not read anything from yet that you are really prioritising soon. I would love to know. If you like this video, although I completely understand if you don't because of the terrible technology and the person filming, if you do like this video, please give it a like, and if you would like to become a firm member of the Library of a Silver Saint, then please do subscribe. I would love to have you join with me, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your weekend.